What's up, my dudes? Happy Christmas and a Merry New Year, you little rascals. This is a track review of the Red Dirt Raceway, and it's made by D-Bar47. So if you're not blasting ass, you're blowing ass on this track because it's one of those where you got to be wide open or nothing. It's got a really deep, sandy feel to it, but I will say I really did enjoy the on track on this track right here because it just has such a long, high speed, 7th gear, wide open kind of flow to it where a lot of tracks just fail to capture that for some reason. I don't know. It's like, whenever people try to make wide open tracks, they don't make them flow in the corners. It's like they'll make the corner like too sharp, or they'll make it where it's got weird ruts in it where you really got to slow down, which those are fun too, but it's fun to get on tracks like this where you never really have to let off anywhere. So there's a cool little wall hook jump right there where you can kind of jump up over it and do, I think it's kind of like a triple if you count the wall landing as a landing. So that's crazy. Dude, there's so many different, you try to count like a tabletop as a landing or a fucking like wall landing as a landing. Like, I don't know what to call it, a double or a triple or a quad ski or what the heck. So I don't know. But overall, I mean, I really enjoyed the on track. It's definitely a wonderful track to practice your wide open skills on, where you're just like hammering the throttle as hard as you can, and you learn how to lean on the bike like that. Like for my wide open videos, that took a long time just to learn how to lean and figure out how to hit the corner in a certain way where you never had to let off the gas. So that's actually a really hard technique to learn in this game, and especially when you hop on a 450 where it's got a lot of horsepower and a lot of speed. It's hard to hold the throttle on in the corners without just completely spinning out the back or having a little bit of seat bouncing and hucking you over the bars or just anything. You can high side really easy on tracks like this. So but yeah, it's fun once you get the high speed stuff down, because then you go hop on a supercross track and it's like you're going in slow motion. But it's pretty fun, man. He's got a couple little lines, like you can hit the inside right here and just do like either double or triple, or you can hit the outside and do like a fucking 20 jump or something into that bitch. So I don't know how many jumps you can actually jump into it, but quad 5, 7, 8, I don't know what you're jumping. So but yeah, his corners are built just enough where it's like tricky to kind of hold it wide open in the corner, but you can still do it. Some tracks, they've got such a big berm where it takes no skill to hold it wide open in the corner, and then you got some tracks where it's like they've got just enough of a berm where it's tricky, and I feel like that's a good balance to always try to find. But yeah, you can get going in the corners where you never let off the gas. That's why I think sand type tracks like this are so good for practice, because dude, it'll teach you how to hold it wide open for sure, because it allows you to actually maneuver the bike. That's the cool thing about it. Like sand, it's probably the most forgiving dirt out there, and it kind of forces you to go fast, because a lot of you guys know you can't go worth a crap in sand if you're going slow. So it teaches you to actually go faster. I feel like it's the best dirt ever for teaching purposes. So but yeah, I got a couple of cool little long straightaways like this. As far as the off track goes, I mean, yeah, I've seen better. It ain't horrible, but I like how he's got his little grass billboards over here. But this is a little bit of a prime example. You can see how out there in the middle it's and out here on the outside, it's very repetitive in the way he's placed his trees and the way he's placed his billboards. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost, I know this sounds crazy, but it's almost like he's placed his trees a perfect amount of distance apart from each other, even though I know he didn't do that. It's a kind of a side effect when you just go in there and sort of plop down a bunch of trees and plop down a bunch of billboards. That's kind of what you get. Almost like repetitive. A couple areas are not quite as repetitive. Like you'll see right here how he's doesn't really have any trees in this one little clearing, and that looks pretty cool. But Yeah, just slightly repetitive in areas as far as your off-track stuff, but I love this little ground decal right here. Nice little cool kind of old school feel, and yeah, it was fun. When I first seen the preview picture, I was like, I don't know if this track is going to be all that good, but I was actually pleasantly surprised when I got on the track. You can see a little bit of roughness here. Got just enough roughness where it keeps it tricky, but it isn't like totally killing your actual momentum and your flow, so I think he nailed that part of it pretty well, but yeah, just overall decent track. Would have loved to have seen a different kind of skybox, but actually, you know, the default skybox doesn't look that bad on this track. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, the default skybox is always worse than any other skybox, but it really, if any track has ever pulled off the default skybox, I would say this is it right here. Like, it doesn't look that bad. But, you know, sometimes you don't even really notice that it's the default skybox because he's done some of his off-track pretty well. So, nice little cool different line option here. You can do like a quad ski up on this little tabletop thing right here. He could have, I mean, I don't know. It's got a fun kind of big jump-ish type feel to it. But I feel like he could have thrown a couple more big jumps in there just here and there. Like couple little sections, just it's like the jumps are not quite as impressive as some of the other ones. I don't know if I'm just talking out of my asshole right now, but it's just like, you know, you get like this whole half of the track over here is barely even any jumps bigger than like 20 feet. So it I don't know, it eliminates a little bit of fun factor on this whole side of the track, but then you get over here and it's like a cool big jump, cool big little double kind of thing going on. Then you get back over here and it's another cool bigger double. So it's, or like a single then a bigger double. I guess there's not very many big jumps on the track, but so it's just definitely basic in areas on the track, no doubt. I mean, you can see how it's not really just like ruts going down the landings or the jump faces or anything like that. I threw a pretty sick whipski over this jump right here. What? That was on accident, but yeah, it's just a fun little sand track, man. Nothing too crazy, awesome or anything, but just solid, fun sand track. So I'm going to give it a 7 overall. I'm going to say the difficulty is medium because if you're going really fast, it's medium difficulty. The roughness is not that big. Your ruts are really flowy, so you ain't got to worry too much about that. Jumps aren't too crazy. So yeah, difficulty is probably, you could almost even say it's easy. I mean, really. But like if you're actually going fast like you're supposed to on the track, then it is a little bit more like medium difficulty. So, yeah, just a little bit more could have been added in, but overall still felt like it was a pretty fun track. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching all these videos. Later, dudes.